Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Trisha. Trisha is from New York City in the USA. So let's see what Trisha has to say. Enjoy the interview. So hello Trisha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So tell me, how's your day going so far?
Uh, Great. I woke up at the crack of noon and just kind of rolled out of bed, talked to a friend on the phone, got some coffee, and then got ready.
Do you consider yourself to be more of a day or a night person?
It depends on what I got going on. Right now, it's a lot of nights, 8 hours of Skyrim, and I am currently crocheting something for a friend of mine.
Amazing. And tell me where are you from, Trisha?
I reside in Brooklyn, New York.
Born and raised?
No, I'm from the great Midwestern state of Minnesota.
So tell me why the move from Minnesota to New York?
Um, it was a journey to get here. Minnesota, San Francisco, DC, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, New Haven, Connecticut, and then down to New York.
Wow. But the intention, the final was New York or no? You're just trying different places?
My ex-husband, he was a minister, so
Okay.
traveled
Amazing.
traveled around for his job, and then I landed in New York. We got divorced. I got the city, and he moved.
I love it. And tell me, what do you do for work, for living?
Um, I am culinary trained, 25 years,
Mhm.
about. But most recently, I was a production manager at a nightclub here in Brooklyn.
Oh, so tell me a little bit about your job. How is to be a coordinator in a nightclub in Brooklyn?
Um, it's interesting. You focus on a lot of the details that uh, other people may miss. I'm very detail oriented, so I was doing a lot of the scheduling. I was doing a lot of the admin work, setting up meetings, um, making sure things are executed to what the client wanted. Um,
Mhm.
you you have the final things like I am the contact for the venue, essentially. And
Right.
then we would have other people that were working with the client, and then the two of us would get together, powwow, um, go through the checklist, make sure everything was set up. I would make sure I had people scheduled that day, and everything was laid out to how the client wanted it when they would come in for their parties.
I see. And those parties, they happen like every day or the weekends or different days of the week, how it works, the schedule.
Usually weekends, but we held a lot of private events.
Okay.
So, um, say a large organization would come in and want to buy out the space, uh, they would either do the best days for it were like a Tuesday or Wednesday because we
Mhm.
nothing else was really going on and it didn't affect the um, normal programming.
I see. Okay. All right. So during the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your journey and also about your life overall. Okay.
Hmm.
Right. So before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I can see behind you, this little like hat. Yes. So tell me a little bit about it. What's the meaning of that? What's the story behind? If you can share.
Um, I'm a drag queen, and I also make hair for other drag queens, including and myself.
Uh-huh.
Um, but these are just some of the pieces that I have up. Like this one and this one um, were gifts from a friend of mine that I'm going to restyle and reset and give back to her.
Amazing. All right. So I'm going to explore a little bit more during the show about your career as a drag queen. Okay.
Yeah,
Prisha, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
let's go.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got here my best friend, full of run of fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Mhm.
Let's do it. All right. Trisha, before we start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, some reason you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
First question for you is, what is your favorite weekend activity?
Waking up, having breakfast with my partner in bed, playing cribbage, and then getting dressed, going for what we call a walk the pup, where we walk to the park, go to a coffee shop, sit back in the park, get some sun on our face, and then just kind of lollygag from coffee shop to coffee shop until we're ready to go home.
Amazing. And it's happened very often?
Almost every weekend.
Wow. And your partner is from New York City?
He's from Ohio.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Next question. Right. Next question is, tell us about your most embarrassing moment.
I'm 38. There's a bunch. Most embarrassing moment was actually probably the first time I got pulled over for a speeding ticket.
Tell me about
So my mother was in the hospital. She had just had my little sister. I was 16 at the time, just turned 17, I think. And so as I'm driving, it's like 10 at night, 11 at night. This is Minnesota, so we're getting into the rural parts of it.
Right.
The speed limit was, I think, 65, 60. I was going 95 because there was no one on the road. And next thing I know, a cop pulls me over. And so I'm sitting there going, you're young, you don't know. And like, I was incredibly embarrassed. And I was like, I look in my rearview mirror and I go, okay, how am I going to get out of this? And I work myself up and the cop comes up. So it's embarrassing into kind of a funny story. The cop comes up to the window and I'm sobbing. Internally, I'm embarrassed because I got pulled over and I got caught. But he goes, where's the fire? Where's the fire? And I said, my mother is having a baby. And it was true. And he goes, I'm going to drop your speed down to 75 and you're getting off with a warning. Just make sure you go the speed limit the rest of the way. I had to show my dad the ticket and he knew better because little did I know he had a tracker on the car to see how fast I was actually going. So
don't tell anyone.
No, don't tell anyone. It's been 20 years. I think we're okay.
Which person in your family you are more close to?
Now I would have to say my little brother. Moved here he was living in Kansas. I moved him here to New York. And got him a job at the place that I was working. And he started working production here in the city. And we've been kind of distant, but leading up to him me moving him to New York. But since then, like with us working together and constantly spending time together, we've gotten really, really close. And I've noticed that he's kind of followed my track through life, which is interesting.
Wow, amazing. Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Amazing. Right, before the next question, tell me about your career as a drag queen, how the opportunity was introduced to you, was presented to you. Tell me what you like the most about the career.
Well, growing up, I was too pretty to be a boy. and too masculine to be a girl. So I've always kind of walked the line. And my first foray into it was at my sophomore year of high school. I went in drag to the Halloween dance. But like my aunts came over, my then the woman that my dad was dating, my now stepmom, came over. They all got me ready, and I wore my mom's dress, and nobody knew who I was. And it kind of triggered in something in me. And so it always starts on Halloween. Drag queens usually always start on Halloween. But
Interesting.
then I continued it kind of when I was living in San Francisco, but more so when I was living in Florida, in DC, because I had a platform there. My ex-husband was working at a church, and it was a gay church.
Mm-hmm.
So we would host drag things, and so I would get dressed in drag and perform, and that's kind
Wow.
of where I started. And then going into New Haven, Connecticut, I was in a regular show, I think a weekly show, um, and it I love the mask that you can put on, the entertaining the masses. Not so much the corsets or the undergarments, but seeing someone whose first time at a drag show, they come in and they're just, it's for them.
Yeah.
It, yes, I'm performing for myself, but I'm also performing for them. Um, and I think my favorite thing about it is the sisterhood that you have. Being able to pass along the information that I've gleaned over the years to uh, give to somebody else, like the new ones that are coming up.
Wow. Amazing. Next question is, what does happiness mean to you?
Um, Happiness to me is being able to laugh at yourself,
Mhm.
being able to. Everyone has that child that you grew up as is still inside you, and being able to nurture that child through uh, your experiences, because a lot of times in society we push it down and push it out of the way because we have to be an adult. Um, but what I have found, because I was also in the leather community in San Francisco, um, and I'm a leather pup, so you really feed into the childlike aspect of yourself, and that's really where I started connecting with it. But being able to harness that energy and move through life and allow them to grow with you, um, is really the core of my happiness, and being able to nurture that. Yeah, it's being able to nurture the inner child uh, to develop happiness.
Do you believe that happiness is a choice?
Um, I think it's a choice that is not afforded to us a lot of the time.
Mhm.
A lot of times, happiness can be taken away.
Interesting. All right. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Trisha from New York City. Next question is, what is the most difficult thing have you ever done?
Um, Stepping out of my box and taking a job in the Bahamas. I was living in Connecticut. Someone that I went to culinary school with said that they couldn't take a job because they had scheduling conflicts. And up until that point, I had never really done anything for myself. I had only lived for my ex-husband. Um, I stepped up and became a private pastry chef for a family that owned an island down there. And that kind of opened up the world to me being able to move to New York and having the confidence to do that.
Fun enough, I made a note here about taste chef. Yeah, I said I need to ask him about that. As you already, mentioned, so tell me about your journey as a pastry chef. You always been, professional pastry chef, or something was introduced to you?
Um, yes and no. I grew up in my grandmother's kitchen making breads and cookies and cakes. Um,
Mhm.
and she said, whether you're a ditch digger or a doctor, do what you love and love what you do. Um, but if you work in kitchens, you never go hungry. So I always had a job in kitchens. And then
Wow.
mainly bakeries. But then I went to culinary school for the savory side so I could do full menu planning because I already knew how to bake.
Mhm.
Um, getting Once I left culinary school, I was already probably about 12 years in the industry at that point. Um, it launched me into being able to get the pastry positions, and because now I had the background of the business side of the education, which you need.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I love it. I sometimes miss it, um,
Okay.
but I also find that the skills that I learned are applicable to almost any situation.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Very good. Ready for another one?
Hmm.
Let's do it. Next question. Right. Next question is, what's the best advice have you ever given to someone?
Um, Honestly, what I just said, do what you love and love what you do, whether you're a ditch digger or a doctor. Um, and if you work in kitchens, you don't go hungry.
I love that. I literally like that, actually. It's interesting saying that. I worked for Disney Cruise Line and a cruise ship. I worked hospitality hotels for many years. My ex-boyfriend actually is a place chef. And yes, he was working as well in a private yacht, yeah, private yacht, where he was cooking for a private family. And I never thought about that. Like work in the kitchen, never go hungry. And it says a lot there because, people, they might find a career where, as you just said, something that you related to, and someone to say something like that, it says a lot regarding, people, they sometimes they start a career or they start something, of course, about love. It's about something that you can learn and you can enjoy, but there's always something behind and you never know what can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that. I love this phrase, and I think it says everything. Trisha, when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the best part of being you? What do you like the most about being yourself?
Resilience. Um, did not have a very easy childhood,
Hmm.
had a very difficult marriage, um, but somehow I just, I'm here. I'm still here.
Do you feel like you are living your best life ever right now?
It's difficult to say because it's like, I'm enjoying it.
Hmm.
Um, I've always enjoyed my journey. Uh, and I think there are some things that if you asked me again in 5 years, I'll say, yes, this is my best life.
I see.
But right now, yeah, this is actually pretty damn good.
Please. Very good. Three questions left. Let's do it. For the next one, tell me, I'm going to ask two questions in one. The first part of the question is, of course, you mentioned about your, love about being a drag, performing, connect with the audience and, give your best. But what's the flip side? What do you find most challenging about your career? And the other part of the question is, why Trisha Bordeaux? Is something connected with the city in France, Bordeaux, or is just you just like the name?
Well, so to answer the first part of the question, difficulties that I find um, nowadays, um,
Mm-hmm.
because everything is recorded. Yeah, it's great for posterity and you have all of this stuff. You now constantly have to come up with new things. Whereas I talked to queens that were from the 80s and 90s, they didn't have that. So you could just go from city to city to city to city and
Right.
redo the. And so your wardrobe and hair and things you had to do were a lot smaller to carry with you. Um, Now you constantly have to reinvent and do, and it's a lot. Um,
Wow. Wow.
so my name, my drag name, Trisha Bordeaux, Trisha comes from San Francisco, Gold's Gym, Castro. The person I started working at Gold's Gym, and this is back when I was like 21, 20, 19, something like that. The person behind the counter didn't remember my boy name, and they went down a list and finally got so fed up, they yelled at me, Trisha, your name is Trisha now. And I went, yes, I am Miss Trish. So
I love it.
that's how I got Trisha. My drag mother, Champagne Bordeaux, I met in Florida
Right.
through the church, actually. She was hosting an event that the church put on, and she saw me performing and went, I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Little did I know that we ended up in culinary school together. And
Oh my God.
yeah. And so we were able to bond outside of drag and see how professional each other were. And like in a couple classes, we were partners together. And so we just became really, really close. And we stayed connected. She's like, you're one of my daughters now. You're one of my daughters.
Sweet.
And I didn't have her last name then, but when I was doing drag semi full time up in Connecticut, after about 3 months, I asked her, Mama, do you mind if I take your last name? And she said I would be honored. So now so Trisha Bordeaux is my name.
Amazing. I've been to Bordeaux, actually. My best friend, he's French. He lives in Canada. And I went to Bordeaux once. And I just love it. So when I saw your name, I said, okay, I need to ask her about it. I need it. Next question is, what keeps you up at night?
Skyrim.
What?
Lots and lots of Skyrim. I'm a very avid video game player.
Wow.
And so I play lots and lots of video games at night. I also have insomnia, so like I'm up anyway, and I just do something productive.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Hey, Trisha, next question is, if you could be in somebody's place, in somebody's skin for 24 hours, for any reason, yeah, who that to be and why?
Henry Cavill's wife.
I love it. God.
If I get to keep the memories. Yeah, that's
Why? Why her? Why? I know. I know. I know.
I think everybody knows.
Oh, for sure. Oh my God. Yesterday I had an interview with the man from England, from London. And there was something about I forgot about the question, but he mentioned him as well. And I was like, okay. And he said something very naughty as well. He said something very naughty. He said, William, if I could have the opportunity for him, I'm gonna say a bit. If he could sit on my and I was like, oh my God. Anyway, yes, I agree. And I like you are very creative and you think his wife. So it says everything. You don't need to be in his place.
I just got really, really warm.
I would love to talk to you after those 24 hours for you to tell me everything, like literally everything.
Oh, we would sit down and grab a cup of coffee and then kiki.
Last question. Let's do it. Right. So before the last question, tell me, through your career as a drag, tell me a moment or a situation, that you are performing that you're never gonna forget. For some reason, you go like, okay, that's something that's always gonna have a special place in my heart.
So there was a show at House of Yes called Hot Mess that I was head judge of, and I mentioned my little brother earlier. He's also a performer. He's a singer as well. I'm a lyric baritone. He's a bass baritone, and we decided to perform Agony from Into the Woods. So I got dressed up He got dressed up, and thankfully my partner was there because he recorded it. But
Wow.
I got to sing with my little brother on stage
Wow.
at a drag show that I loved with my friends and family. Um, and I, yeah, it was his first time performing in New York.
Wow.
Um, and that's something that I'll never forget.
Beautiful, beautiful. Your brother is a perform as a drag as well. He's part of LGBTQ plus community or not?
He doesn't do drag, but he is a part of
I
the community.
I see. Amazing. Oh, very sweet.
Well,
And
drag yet. We'll see.
actually, yes. And if he would like to participate in the show, he's more than welcome. I'd love to have him as well. Amazing. Last question is, this, I think this one's gonna be very easy for you. What do you like to cook the most?
Oh, um, I have to go through my custards, blondes, panna cottas, anything creamy and rich and just unctuous that you can, because it you have with what custard is a base, and you can add
Mhm.
any flavor to it. And I just love if it's for me.
Okay.
Uh, if it's for me, I love doing custards. Um,
Mhm.
if it's for other people, I like doing French macarons.
Oh
Um,
wow.
they
Yes.
are they are easy for me
Uh-huh.
uh, because like you can. It's also the same thing. It's you have a base of something and you can add any flavor to it. And this is where my savory side comes in because I don't like sweet things, and so I add I did a vindaloo curry shell with a tart passion fruit mango jam for this French macaron,
Uh-huh.
and it just so for me custards, for other people macarons.
Another funny coincidence. My ex as well, the one who was pastry chef, he didn't like sweets at all. He didn't like it sweets. I was
Most
like,
of us
how's
don't.
eh?
Yeah,
Really? It's I was like, how is possible? Of course, he was tasty and everything, and but
yeah.
I couldn't picture him because he was doing those beautiful, cakes and pastries and delicious, and I was like, how's possible for you to not like sweets? Like he wasn't sweet tooth at all. So interesting.
Most of us grew up kind of like with a really big sweet tooth, um,
Hmm.
and I think the correction is I don't like other people's sweets.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Um, I like mine because I've catered to my own taste. And
Right.
but I don't cook for myself sweet wise that often. And so you learn to limit it, or else it just gets to be too much.
And there's something that you can't or you don't like to eat at all? I mean, regardless, there's something or not?
Is there something that I don't like?
Yeah, you don't like to eat or you can't eat, there's something or not? Besides sweets, like,
There's a story behind it, but buttered rice.
oh,
It's a weird one.
uh,
Uh, buttered rice.
you can't. Okay.
Nope.
Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words. Just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with money.
Don't have.
Family.
Chosen.
Love.
Chosen.
Sex.
Need more.
Ooh. Life.
Uh, mine.
Politics.
Touchy.
Fear.
The root of all evil.
Religion.
Eh.
Desire.
Um, pleasure.
Regrets.
A few.
Success.
A wish.
And one word for wish.
Life.
One word for happiness.
Child.
Oh, one word for Brooklyn.
Interesting.
One word for New York City.
Easier.
USA. One word. One word, and the last one, one word for drag queen.
Pain.
Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your brother, yeah, the one you mentioned here, that you are very close. I'm going to ask him, define Trisha in one positive word and one negative word only. What your brother would say.
Positive, driven.
Mm-hmm.
Negative, stubborn.
If I would ask the same question to your current partner right now, would it be the same answer?
Stubborn, yes. But I think for positive, it would be more selfless.
Interesting. Do you think that, what's your star sign, Trisha, on astrology?
I'm a Cancer.
Interesting. Okay. Let's play now, Trisha, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. But right, before you ask me the question, tell me, talking to you since the beginning of the interview, you come across I don't know if it's your voice, the way you talk, but it comes across a very calming, comforting, voice. People, they spot that on you, like when you talk to people. Do you have the tone of your voice, kind of calm, no? People say that.
No.
No. Interesting. I don't know, it's because you talk very kind of stable. I don't know, there's something about your voice that's very comforting. I don't know, just
Thank
had
you.
this feeling. This is the beginning of the interview. Okay, you can ask me a question now.
If you had to survive for a week in the last video game that you played, could you do it?
I don't remember the last time I played a video game, so
if you could survive, could you survive for a week in the last book you read?
Okay, now I can answer straight away. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm very into it. I would say yes, and I'll tell you why. The book I'm reading right now, it's oh my god, I'm gonna get it wrong now. Men are from Mars, and women are from Venus.
Yeah.
Yes, John. Anyway, I would say yes because I'll tell you something, Trisha. I've been educated about the difference between men and women, and about the relationship, and about how we react to things, about what's happening in our life. It's sometimes when you have the information about that, the differences, which is it doesn't matter your identity, doesn't matter, if you are, gay or straight or trans, any category you find yourself, you connect with the book because it says a lot about the difference between the female and the male as well. And saying that sometimes we are male, but we have this female personality. We have this female, being a gay guy or being, a trans or something. There's a connect with the feminist parts. And I've been so educated about the book, and I'm so into it now because I've been recommending for different friends. Yeah, because it's something that I'm so glad that came into my life, this book, because I've been understanding more about our differences and the way we communicate with people, the way we understand other people, the way we put ourselves in their shoes as well, and the difference how we react for different occasions in our lives. So yes, I would survive for a week for sure on the book I'm reading right now because somehow I'm fascinated about it. So yes, answer to your question. Did you enjoy the interview?
I did. Did you?
I did. Thanks so much. Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks so much for bringing, your calming voice to calm me down a little bit. Beautiful.
It sounded like you needed it.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
It is what it is. it has become the millennial rallying cry. It is what it is, and you just keep moving on.
Keep
That's all you
going.
can do. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Regards to your family and also to your partner, and you keep in touch. Okay, it was a pleasure, Trisha.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. Okay, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.